Coming up, we'll take you to the Old Reliance Bridge groundbreaking ceremony.
And we'll tag along with some Bryan 5th graders as they go to Camp Allen. I'm Sandy Ferris.
And I'm Alan Brugman. This is Bryan Living and Learning. Welcome to this episode of Bryan Living and Learning. Today we'll show you a forum being held on Downtown North and what's going to be happening there, and we'll show you the grand opening of the Forsyth Art Gallery in downtown Bryan.
And we'll check in with Bryan's 7th graders at Rayburn Middle School who recently had their annual Alamo Day, and then we'll take a look at some new playground equipment that was recently installed.
Before we get to those stories though, we let off the top telling you about the Old Reliance Bridge groundbreaking. Even though the groundbreaking just happened, work has been going on that bridge for some time now. After this ceremonial turning of the dirt,
1, 2, 3.
The Old Reliance Bridge project was officially underway. Of course, construction on the new bridge has been ongoing for some time, which is apparent when you see the construction materials and the reflective barrels that dot the area. The new bridge was identified as priority number 1 in terms of transportation projects in Bryan.
What you see here today is a 2-lane structure that was built many, many years ago to serve a different world than what we live in today.
The much larger bridge will feature 4 lanes and 2 turnaround lanes. There will also be room for bicycles and pedestrians on the bridge, which will provide a great way for students to get from the west side of Highway 6 to Rudder High School. When it's all completed, the bridge will improve safety, increase capacity, and provide a vital link across Highway 6 for our community. U.S. Congressman Chet Edwards helped to secure the funding for the bridge. He praised the team effort that occurred to make the new bridge a reality.
And this is really how government ought to work. Across party lines, frankly without regard to party lines. This isn't a Republican or Democratic bridge, it's a bridge to serve this community.
Mayor Mark Conley told the crowd gathered that the new bridge will also provide more than just a safe trip across Highway 6.
We've got new subdivisions going behind here. We've got the new Target Center down there, more development coming right across the street from that. There's just a huge amount of things going on this side of town, and we needed this for traffic safety to get those things accomplished.
Edwards told the group he was happy to work with Bryan officials, even though the new bridge has been a long time coming.
The last 5 years, it's been a real privilege to work with you, Mayor Conley, and the city. You made it very clear this project was at the very top of your priority list, and we wouldn't be here today without that.
Mayor Conley was equally excited to work with Edwards and his team, and even more excited about the bridge itself.
With your help, TxDOT's help, a little from the city pushing, and we're here, and it's a great deal. I've asked several times when it's going to be finished because I'm so anxious to get it done. I got 2 or 3 different answers, but they were all in 2010, which is great.
And after the Old Reliance Bridge project officially started, Mayor Conley reminded Congressman Edwards that there are still more city projects that could use a helping hand from federal dollars.
Now that the top item's off the list, we still have a list. So you're not off the hook, but we do appreciate you for this one.
The bridge's contractor is W.W. Weber, LLC of Houston.
Well, Alan, that project is something we've really been looking forward to for some time.
Yeah, I know it's been much needed for quite a while, and I know everybody will be happy when it's finally done.
Well, next we want to tell you about Alamo Day. This is a project that Texas history teachers have done with their students for the past 6 years, and it really makes Texas history come alive.
For every teacher, one of the challenges is to find ways to connect classroom learning with real-life understanding. Good teachers are always looking for effective ways to make their instruction interesting, relevant, and applicable. For Kyle Jones and the history teachers at Sam Rayburn Middle School, Alamo Day has provided the opportunity to connect Texas history with the lives of 7th grade students.
This is our 5th year to do Alamo Day, and the kids always really enjoy it because it makes the Alamo experience real for them, because these people have actually acted out the movie and really have made it a part of their lives. And so I think the kids feel more connected to what Alamo Day is really like and what Alamo really meant to Texas. They get to come over and visit with some of the actors that were actually in the movie. Some of them were extras, some of them actually had speaking parts. They tell the kids how they got involved. what it meant to them to be a part of Alamo. And we also have Dr. Dimmick, who is an archaeologist, who tells the kids about another part of Texas history and how important it is to actually live your history.
3 actors and 1 actress from the 2004 movie, The Alamo, were on hand this year to share with students about their experience with the movie and how Texas history has an impact on their lives.
Well, I especially like that Sid Galindo is from Bryan. He's from Bryan schools, and so he actually, I guess, is the epitome of what we would like to see our kids do, to go out and actually practice what they've learned in school and really bring it back home to us. So I think that's important.
Great to see my friends again from the set of the Alamo. We all shared, as you can see from a lot of the video, we shared a very special experience together.
Okay, well, it was after I'd been selected to be in the movie and as an extra, and there'd been a story that appeared in the local paper here in the Bryan College Station Eagle, and they'd interviewed me, and I talked about how when I was in 7th grade here in Bryan, that I'd been president of the Texas History Club in my 7th grade class, and I had an interest in Texas history, and so just on a lark, that's why I decided, well, let me see if I can get into this movie. And I got in, and so it came out in the paper, and you know, Kyle read that somehow and got hold of me. He tracked me down, told me he was a teacher at Bryan Independent School District, taught 7th grade, and would I come and talk to his students about what it was like, you know, to be in the movie and to share that experience with them and how it all happened. And I've been coming back for 5 years in a row now to do just that for all the 7th graders at Sam Rayburn.
We have been studying the Texas Revolution, and they've actually watched the movie, the 2004 movie of the Alamo, so they've already seen some of these characters in the film. And then we're going to finish up the Texas Revolution. They're going to actually do a podcast of one subject of the Texas Revolution themselves, so they'll get to record their own voices and pick out pictures and kind of do their own production.
An event like Alamo Day requires lots of work, but for Kyle and the other teachers, the results are worth the effort.
Oh, well, we have, Kyle Jones is really the background of it because he notifies all these people. He gets the people that are going to be here. He has to get sponsors to help us monetarily. We have people that donate money. We have people that donate products. Our t-shirts were donated. So we get a lot of help from the community, and our administrators are great. They support us 100%.
Oh, it's been great. It's been great. And every year the production of it gets a little more sophisticated and a little bit better. But the kids always respond well. They're always interested. I think it gives them kind of a hook and an opportunity to meet real people outside of the classroom that also have an interest in Texas history and have actually made that meaningful in their lives somehow.
Well, Sandy, witnessing a program like this with the presentations like that, I'm sure it beats reading about the Alamo in a textbook.
It really does, and the items that they bring to show, they're always very interesting for the students.
We've told you about the plans for the Downtown North project. Well, recently a developer for that project met with Bryan citizens to get their input on what they want in that area. A large number of interested shareholders, stakeholders, downtown merchants, and citizens gathered at the Justice Center in Bryan to share their thoughts about the upcoming Downtown North project. Kevin Matoka from Stonehenge Companies LLC, who is a developer of Downtown North, was on hand to hear feedback and share their vision of what Downtown North could be.
We have wonderful facilities with the ice house, with the contiguous blocks around that. And what we're trying to do is develop a project that is not only just for these 7 blocks, but something that will materialize further out from that to give downtown a lot of new life.
So far, the feedback they've received asks for a good mix of residential and retail in the development, and that's what Stonehenge is planning.
What we're hearing is more demand for residential use, and with that residential use will come retail components such as bakeries, laundries, drugstores, this type of use.
And those type of businesses will be perfect for residents who are active in downtown 24/7.
And that's what downtown needs, is that type of active lifestyle. That coupled with a large green space area that we envision as a somewhat of an amphitheater, but something that could be used for multiple type uses. Certainly concerts, farmers markets on Saturdays mornings, these type of activities that bring that urban feel and that green space to downtown.
There's not a timetable yet for when ground will be broken on the developments because Stonehenge is still in the fact-gathering process.
Now as we go through and make our revisions to our master plan, we'll take that back to council, we'll get comments from council and see how this really incorporates into the overall master plan of downtown. And then from there, we will start our different phases of the project. So I don't have a date yet that when we're going to break ground, but you'll start hearing more and more about it. We've already have a list of people who are interested in the urban lifestyle and the downtown residential component, so it's exciting.
On past episodes, we've told you about the MSC Forsyth Gallery moving from the MSC on A&M's campus to downtown Bryan. They recently held a big party to kick off their grand opening. January 15th was a night for the arts in downtown Bryan as the MSC Forsyth Center Galleries held their grand opening celebration in downtown Bryan. The galleries have been open to visitors since November at their new location, which is 110 North Main Street, but they decided to hold their grand opening at the beginning of 2010 to usher in the new year. The theme of the party was the American West, Then and Now, and it featured paintings of the American West by Frederick Remington, Charles Russell, Joseph Sharp, and others. Even though the grand opening was held in the evening, the gallery's regular hours are Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6, and it's completely free. Here are some more highlights from the grand opening event.
Alan, the Forsyth Gallery has some really nice pieces. Are they planning on keeping that same exhibit year-round?
No, they've got a lot of stuff there in storage, so they plan to rotate the pieces on a regular basis. And we'll let you know here when they do something like that.
Well, the Bryan School District is replacing outdated playground equipment. These wooden structures are no longer safe for children, so we're replacing them with new and safer equipment.
Well, the schools that have received new playground equipment, we have 11 of them. We have Bonham, Branch, Crockett, Fannin, Henderson, Houston, Johnson, Jones, Kemp, Milam, and Navarro. And all of those campuses received brand new playground equipment as of, they started installing the end of December while we were gone on vacation. And they ought to finish up next week. So we're very excited about that. We've been wanting to upgrade our equipment. The equipment that was replaced was installed in the early 1990s. And by those standards, that was very good equipment. And it was also the wooden equipment, which was state-of-the-art at that particular time. But since then, we've had lots of upgrades in our equipment. We've had lots of changes in our ADA that allows handicapped students to play on playground equipment. And so we really needed to upgrade our equipment to make sure that it was state-of-the-art. So that's what we did. I happened to be talking to Bryan O'Connor with Game Time, and he mentioned that they had a grant available, which really all it was that they discounted several pieces of their equipment half price. And that if we applied for the grant and the money was available, then we would essentially get the equipment at half price. And these days, that's an amazing cost savings. We applied for the grant, we took it to the Board of Trustees, we gave them all the information about our old equipment, why we felt like we needed the new equipment, told them that it would cost half of what it normally would if we purchased it even a little bit at a time. And so they agreed with us, and so we got started right away after the grant was approved. First of all, we had our Bryan ISD Maintenance and Operations Department go out and remove the old equipment. So we went out and marked the equipment that was going to come down. They went in there with a bulldozer and they took it all up. They put it all in a bin that was taken away for recycling. So we thought that was great, that a lot of that was recycled. There's also a lot of pea gravel there that we're going to try to recycle and reuse either in other playgrounds as fill or in our parking lots that may need some additional fill as well. We tried to pick something that had a lot of versatility and a lot of new equipment, new pieces of equipment that the kids hadn't seen before. So all of the 3-5 equipment is the same, all the K2 equipment is the same. We're using game time contractors to install that equipment. They are professionals, so they can put a piece of equipment up rather quickly. Some of the cool features we have are rock climbers, where it looks like a little rock climber that they can climb actually using the rocks. There's also the cool slides, you know, there's the tube slides and the wave slides, and there's a million different slides. It's all metal except for the slides. They are plastic, so they're going to last longer. So it's just a lot of neat features that, of course, they didn't have 20 years ago. I've gone out and I've taken pictures of the new equipment to put in my equipment book, and the kids love it. They come up to the fence and they say, "Oh, isn't this great?" And I'll ask them how it is, and they just love it. So I think they're really having a good time with it. Bonham didn't even have a piece of K2 equipment that we purchased a brand new piece for them, and the kids and then they purchased another piece as well. So they have 2 brand new pieces of equipment out there, and they're just loving it. They're having a good time.
Well, Sandy, it looks like a lot of campuses got that new equipment. Was that a pretty big budget hit for the school district?
Actually, no. We received a grant for that equipment, and we were also able to use some bond money for it.
We've been showing you the updates to the Health Science Center here in the city of Bryan. Recently, Lieutenant Governor David Dewhurst was on hand to have his own special tour. The Texas A&M Health Science Center being constructed in Bryan is one of the most exciting stories for our area, and now it's beginning to attract statewide attention. Lieutenant Governor David Dewhurst was in Bryan on January 14th to learn about the Health Science Center and tour the buildings that are currently under construction. State Senator Steve Ogden joined the tour as well. HSC President Nancy Dickey told Dewhurst about the projected $1 billion economic impact the school will have on the local economy and some exciting news about some HSC partnerships.
But also because Steve and I spent a lot of time talking about the importance of partnering and using resources. Blinn Community College is going to move some of its health-related programs over here, so we can share things like simulation centers and teaching labs. And that'll all be in this 3rd building that's going up.
Dickey showed the touring group, which also included other A&M officials and members of the local media, where offices will be located and how classrooms are being constructed to meet their needs. She also emphasized just how close HSC's campus on Highway 47 is to Texas A&M's main campus.
This is less than 2 miles from Texas A&M University. We share a lot of faculty. We do an awful lot of research collaboration. It's actually quicker to get from this campus to the back of Texas A&M's campus than it is to get from the back of A&M's campus to the front of A&M's campus. So it's important for students and faculty to know how easy that is.
The first building at HSC, which is the Health Professions Education Building, is scheduled to be opened on the 200-acre campus in July of this year. You may remember back in December when longtime Bryan librarian Clara Mounts announced her retirement. She's the topic of this week's Council Update.
At the most recent City Council meeting on January 12th, the City Council voted to rename the public library after longtime community librarian Clara Mounts. Clara Mounts has served our community for more than 3 decades. The Council said the action is a gesture to recognize Clara's dedication, passion, and many outstanding contributions that have made the Bryan College Station library system what it is today. The library, located at 201 East 26th Street, is a historic Bryan landmark. It was built in 1969 and remodeled in 1995 after an arsonist set fire to the building. During Mounts' tenure, she oversaw many upgrades to the library and secured grant funding to create a computer lab. The city hosted a retirement reception for Clara last month to honor her service to our community. As always, if you'd like to watch a City Council meeting in its entirety, you can log on to bryantx.gov.
For a number of years, Bryan 5th graders have enjoyed a day at Camp Allen performing science and math experiments. Recently, Jones Elementary had their turn.
For 5th graders in Bryan ISD, the trip to Camp Allen is one of the most anticipated events of the year. The 950-acre camp is located just south of Navasota, and it offers an ideal setting for students to experience nature, build relationships, and have a great time. What was originally an overnight trip has been shortened in recent years to a day-long activity, but that hasn't dampened the excitement of these 5th graders as they step off the bus, ready for a day at camp.
Today we're out at Camp Allen. We've been coming for several years. At least I've been here for the last 4 years. Today we've been doing the aquatic living, where they get to search in the lake for several different just the aquatic life. We've also learned outdoor skills. The students are able to build a shelter, learn which types of leaves that are safe to eat, and they learn some skills that would be helpful in the event that they were to get lost in the woods. After lunch we'll get to go canoeing, and I believe we'll get to work on some team building activities later on.
Camp Allen's Discovery Program provides a hands-on educational experience that enhances classroom learning. Many of the things students learn tie directly into their classroom instruction, but some of what these students learn is purely extracurricular.
How to survive in the woods. That some plants that you can eat, I thought all plants were poisonous. How to build shelter, how to probably go find a fresh water source, and probably fish, because I only went fishing once, but while we were in the lake, I found a pregnant crawfish.
We have roughly 75, 76 students here today, all 5th graders from Anson Jones. If they're a student at Anson Jones, they know every year that the 5th graders go to Camp Allen, so it is something that they get to look forward to. So at the beginning of the school year, that's always one of our first questions: are we going to go to Camp Allen this year and this year? We said yes, and so they're super excited, and this morning they were very excited because the first thing that they want to do is go camping, and because they've all had siblings that have been able to attend Camp Allen in the years past. So it's been interesting. Unfortunately, a lot of our kids aren't able to experience, camping and outdoorsy types of events with their parents. It's really good for them because they get to mix with it and with other classes, and that's the part I was worried about. But they come here and they learn about team building, and they get to work together to do all the events that have been scheduled for them today. But they learn a lot. They actually know a lot more from TV, so that to actually experience it has been really good for them, I think.
We got to eat grass. It's disgusting, but it turns your spit green. Well, because we were learning how we would survive in the woods by eating different plants, and what we can eat and what we can't eat.
We weren't going to go this year, and actually when we decided that there were funds that Camp Allen was able to help match and meet some of the needs of the students, or the schools financially, there was a spot for us to come. It happened to be right now in the middle of the school year. We typically come in the fall when the weather's a little bit better, but we actually got a good day today.
Well, Sandy, it's really neat that Camp Allen is so close that those students could take advantage of it.
It really is. We've been doing this for almost 20 years, and it's just been a great resource for us.
Our next Be Green and Bryan episode is all about local businesses and how they can help the environment. There are several common ways to help our environment here in Bryan. There's recycling. You can reduce your automobile usage, or you could dump your used motor oil in the proper disposal unit. And that's just to name a few. But there's another less obvious way, and that's by purchasing food and goods from locally owned businesses. The easiest place to make an impact is with the foods.
Food travels an average of 1,500 miles to the American table. That's a lot of travel and fuel expense. When we bring it local, Jim Lewis, owner of Village Foods, buys an awful lot of the produce and the foods here locally, so that really reduces that. So we're reducing the environmental impact just in terms of transportation.
Another great option is to purchase foods from the Brazos Valley Farmers Market. They set up shop at the corner of Texas Avenue and William Joe Bryan every Saturday morning from 8 to 12 and from 4 to 7 on Wednesdays at Village Foods. The vendors who sell at the market live in our area and therefore don't have to ship in massive amounts of food. In addition to helping the environment, it's been shown that local businesses help our economy as well.
Local businesses resource much more locally than do other businesses. Creating local economies, creating diversity within the local economy allows for a lot more resource to come locally. And the economy works that way too. A locally owned independent business returns 3.5 times more revenue into the local economy than does a formula business.
If Stearns has you convinced about buying locally, here's a great way to gradually step in.
You hear a lot these days about people who are trying to buy within 100 miles of them, which is really tough to do. But if people, what our family did was we made a commitment to buy, the first year we bought only within the United States. So all of our food and most everything came, with the exception of coffee, came from within the United States. And then we're going to try to move to Texas, and then we're going to try to move within 100 miles. So you can step your way in. And it's just it's benefit beyond the environment. It also benefits our community.
And there are resources out there as well, including a website at buybrazos.com, which shows a list of several local businesses. And there's also an innovative program that shows consumers what products are made in Texas and here locally.
One of the best things they can do is go to the website buybrazos.com, which lists locally owned independent businesses here. But they can also plug into programs like Go Texan, which is a wonderful program that's sponsored by the state. And what that program does is it connects local farmers or state farmers in the state of Texas with restaurants and others, stores and whatnot, who are selling locally sourced produce. And so that's a great thing.
And beyond helping out the environment and the economy, buying locally helps Bryan, because you're buying from your neighbor.
That kind of story about how we connect in the community is really important, not just for environmental or economic reasons, but because it's what lends quality of life to our community. It gives us character.
Alan, I think it's so important to continue to emphasize our local businesses and the value they add to our community.
Yeah, that's exactly the message that the folks down at Buy Brazos are trying to send, not only for those businesses, but also for the environment. Our last thing that we're going to show you today is a little promo that we put together to remind you that you can learn a lot from the City of Bryan's Channel 16. Hey, Craig, did you see the other night where the City Council voted on those downtown improvements?
No, I didn't see that.
Hey, Craig, did you catch the latest episode of Bryan Living and Learning? Man, they had this great story in the Health Science Center.
No, I didn't see that either.
Hey, Craig, did you see that newest commercial where that police officer's eating those puffy Cheetos?
No, I didn't see that. Where are you seeing all this stuff?
Dude, I'm seeing it on Bryan's Channel 16. Get with it. See what you've been missing on the City of Bryan's Channel 16.
Well, Alan, in addition to the things you've mentioned, we also have the I Am Bryan ISD spots where we continue to highlight our students and our Bryan ISD school board meetings.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of great stuff to watch on Channel 16. Well, that's all the time we have for you on this episode of Bryan Living and Learning. Until next time, I'm Alan Brugman.
And I'm Sandy Ferris. Thanks for watching.